BaconBit.
Oh, man.
Jeez.
Hello.
Terrified already.
Hey.
Get the
hey,
demon out
listener.
of here.
How's it going?
We're good.
Good. Glad to hear it. As it is Halloween season, we thought we'd throw in another Halloweenish BaconBit.
Yeah.
And we wanted to talk about something that actually, I mean, we should have been talking about back in the summer, but we've delayed it until now because we felt the timing was right.
Yeah, we even didn't do about 3 months of Bacon Bits.
Or should we have talked about this, I don't know, like 3 years ago?
Oh, trust me.
4 years
It's
ago.
going to go deep.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to get the whole background to what we're teasing right now and to what you're obviously seeing the cover art of
Yes, and the
already.
title.
I like how we're like, it's a big surprise. Just wait till we reveal
But
it.
some people listen on on apps where they don't see the cover art.
Okay.
And because we do post it on social media, but you may not see the
So
cover
they're
art.
still waiting for the surprise.
They could,
with
although
bated
there's
breath.
also a title for this BaconBit. It's probably just Goodnight Sleepy Zombie.
Oh, great.
So,
now you ruined it
yeah.
all.
Spoilers.
But they don't know
Joel.
what Goodnight Sleepy Zombie is.
They don't.
But let's just tell them. So Kent and I wrote a book,
Indeed.
a children's book.
Uh-huh.
This sounds like we're trolling you, but we're not. This is a legitimate a book that is available for purchase. It's Goodnight Sleepy Zombie.
Okay, so
Legitimately scary for children.
pull it back just,
Pulling it
a
back.
few years, if you would.
A few.
Yeah.
Kent, if you only knew. I did some research
Okay.
on myself. So the thing is, I've had
Did you
this.
Google yourself?
I did a little
How
bit.
many pages of research on yourself did you do?
At least 25. No, I went back and looked at my emails because I was going back and I was like, okay, I've had this idea for this book for how long? Because I approached you in 2012 or 2014, probably.
I think it was 2013 or 2014.
Actually, I could probably
Because
pull it
you
up.
and I met in 2012.
We met in
And
2012.
It was a little bit after that because obviously we had to kind of share interests. We talk about drawing and movies.
We
and similar
did.
love
We-
for zombie movies.
We met in 2012. I sent you the idea on November 5th, 2014.
You honestly have that tracked?
No, I just looked for the email.
Wow.
So
He
I
did do research.
I did. But I have a confession to make, Kent.
Sure.
I approached another artist before you.
What? Hold on. Is there a pre-bacon cell out there somewhere too?
No, there's no other
Okay,
bacon
phew.
cell. The truth is, I had this idea. Apparently, I didn't realize how long it had been. It was about 10 years ago.
So you always told me that because I was like, oh wait, what's your idea? And I was always like, okay, what about this and this and this? And you're like, actually, slow it down. I've had this idea for about a decade, and I was like, probably 2 years. I'm going to give him 2 years, and he's been wanting to do it for a little bit. So you're saying literally 10 years.
I'm saying I have confirmation that it was literally in September of 2009.
Wow.
So I just had my second child.
That's way
Okay.
back.
And I wrote a friend of mine who was an
You were
artist.
so young then.
I was 2 kids. At least they weren't out of time, right? So I had 2 kids, and I guess after my son was born, I decided, you know what, I want to have a children's book for him. And I always do this thing with my kids, with the babies, when I'm like, what does a kitty say? And then I'll teach them to go, meow. What does a doggy say? Ruff, ruff.
Oh, I thought you said kitty, like a kid.
No, like
I'm
a
like, why
kitty,
is the
yeah.
kid making a cat
What
sound?
is he, like
Kitty
some
say-
creepy clown? He's not Pennywise. Who's his kitty? What is the kitty say?
Exactly. I'm like,
no.
Oh, we're in the
See, what
scary
does a
book
kitty say?
already?
What does a doggy say? What does a cow say? We go through all that, and then
Oh my
I'll
gosh,
always
that'd be a good host.
I'll always teach my babies,
Pennywise.
my kids. I'll always go, and what does a zombie say? And I'll have, and I'll
yeah.
go, and I'll stick out my arms.
That's awesome.
It is adorable to see a little kid.
Hold
When I
on.
say, what does a zombie say? And they're like,
Is this a party trick?
Yes.
So when you go to
Oh, yes.
your family's house, you're like, hold on.
my
on.
in-laws think.
What does a
I'm
monkey
weird.
do?
Yeah.
What does a zombie do?
That's a
they'll
good
do
one,
it.
honestly.
So we were doing that, and then there's tons of books out there for kids and getting them to bed and stuff like that. And I thought I would love to do kind of a zombie book for my kids.
Yeah.
It's not too scary, but also, helps them appreciate horror. Mm-hmm. So I had this idea, and so I wrote this guy, and I'm actually going to read the
You wrote to a guy? Oh,
wrote to
yeah.
a guy.
Joel.
The original
Joel.
artist.
What's his name?
Jason.
Jason.
Dear Jason.
I
But
hate
here's
him.
the thing. No, I wrote. Okay, so I wrote Jason in like September 2009. I wrote him this letter, and then he replied back, and then I just didn't say anything for about 5 months. And then I wrote him back, and I'm like, so sorry, I forgot about this. Are you still good for this Didn't hear back from him again.
Oh, okay.
So the original letter I sent to him. Here
What
we
a
go.
jerk. Jason's the worst.
And this will
I
also,
agree.
This will also set up the premise of the book.
Kent, you are so much better than Jason.
So
I
I actually
said-
did something. He did. It responded.
Well, and Jason helped design. He actually helped design the Divine Comedy shirts. Like he was kind of the graphic designer who
Okay.
does the logo and all.
So
that.
he's actually skilled in this,
Oh, that's
whereas
why
I'm
they-
just drawing
No, the
stuff.
guy
No,
literally-
you're supposed to say that's why they suck.
Oh, yeah, that's why.
No, literally, he would sit there in church and like we'd hear like a weird noise in the fan, like in the heating system, and I'd be like, "Hey, Jason, why don't you draw what kind of creature's making that noise?" And he'd just kind of sit there and doodle during church, and then at the end he'd show me, and it was always like these fantastic drawings.
cool.
It was a lot of fun. So anyway, I wrote Jason, and like I said, this is going to set up the premise for the book. Hey, Jason. Sorry, Ken. I had a random idea last night that I've been developing all day, and I wanted to run it by you. I was wondering how you'd feel about drawing illustrations for a children's book about zombies I'm thinking of writing. Here's the idea so far. It's going to be a satirical children's book called Goodnight, Sleepy Zombie, or something like that. On each page, I was wanting to have different zombies expressing, in quotes, different emotions. Their faces wouldn't really be emoting. They would all pretty much have the same expression, but the surroundings would change. So, for example, on one page it would say Happy Zombie, and it would be a picture of a zombie with a smiley face button on his suit coat. On the next page, the captain reads Sad Zombie, and there would be a zombie with an ice cream cone where the ice cream is fallen on the ground. Other emotions could be Angry Zombie, Hungry Zombie, Silly Zombie, which would be a zombie in a clown outfit, maybe, Scared Zombie,
Did that one make the
etc. Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
But the second to last page would be Sleepy Zombie, and then we'd have a zombie on the ground reaching out with one arm or something like that. And then on the last page, it would say Goodnight, Sleepy Zombie, and we'd have a zombie in bed with a teddy bear asleep. I actually want it to be a children's book, meaning no explicit gore or violence. Think the zombies from that Simpsons episode, but it also has to attract fans of the horror genre, like those who own How to Survive a Zombie Apocalypse. And then I just go on to say, I should read this here. Anyway, I've seen your talent in illustrations. Want to know if you have any interest in this project. I'm hoping that I can get it published through the connection I have with Brandon Mull and his status as a published author.
Yeah.
So even back then, I'm like, connections. So that was back, like I said, in 2000, and that was 2010 when I wrote him that email.
All right.
Well, yeah. And then nothing.
Nothing.
And then nothing back.
Wait, he just ignored it?
Well, I had moved, I'd moved away from Provo by that time. We'd been separated. Like, we hadn't really.
So
we
there's
weren't, like,
no
friends,
more
friends.
friendship at that point.
We weren't really.
Is
we
he
were-
dead to you?
We were more acquaintances at the time, and so the separation was kind of like
He's dead to him.
He's
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
He's a zombie.
He's a zombie. So then, flash forward to
When you killed Jason?
yes, I killed Jason.
I killed Jason, by the way, guys. I read his emails and I said, no,
That's
I will
why
meet Joel
he
in
didn't
2
respond.
years.
Flash forward years later when I meet a aspiring movie critic named Kent Dunn.
Indeed.
And I was like, hey, you know, you have talent in drawing?
Wait,
Kent's
we're
like,
already on the radio as a movie critic at that
I
point?
was.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was really aspiring to be a movie critic, though. At
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah. I
Really
mean,
trying.
like finding himself.
Yeah.
I
Find
was
out who he is.
I was just becoming more and more cynical over time.
Yeah.
Wait, how did you realize that
probably
I actually
liked movies
sketched,
back then.
Though
I
did.
think you showed me your comic book, Major Undeclared.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I think you came in one day and you were like, "Hey, you want to hold my lightsaber? And here's my comic book, and you want to hear
Is
my
that my
thoughts on the
new
movies?"
line
Like,
for everything
I have
now?
one.
Yeah.
I have no podcast, but I have a radio show. It's how you used to introduce yourself, which was weird.
Actually, that was the first way I introduced myself, and it had clout at the time.
Yeah,
2
you had a
podcasts
radio show.
not working out.
Yeah, you have a radio show.
Yeah.
So then I came to Kent and I said, "Hey, Kent, I have this idea," and I basically word for word what
Yeah.
I told you before. And so then I ended up sending you on November 5th, 2014. Just keep in
Wow.
mind, this is
after Halloween.
4 years later. Yeah, after Halloween, I guess. I guess maybe during Halloween we discussed our love for horror or something that
Oh,
year.
of course we did. Probably
But
for 2 years at that point.
Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
we'd known each other for about 2 years at that point. In fact, we knew Jacob at this time, too.
Yeah.
So I threw you an idea and I said, hey, here's the 13 emotions that I was thinking of doing. I'll bring you some very rough sketches tomorrow, to see if we can get this started to work out.
Yeah.
So
And Joel, I remember you were still like, Jake, do you think Kent could do this? Because I'm waiting on this guy, Jason, who would be so much. Never mind.
exactly
I
what
can't
I
remember. Never mind. I forget how it went.
So if I can jump in here.
yes, please do.
So you sent me this idea, and I read half of the email because I didn't really read the part where you described what the zombies should look like. because I don't know if you remember, I came back to you with some ideas.
You came back.
So actually, here's what I did. And Jake, I'll talk to you as if I'm talking to the listener right now.
Oh, no, I kind of remember you messing it up. Is that right?
I didn't purposely mess it up.
You went your own
Joel
way.
said zombie idea, and I went a zombie kids book, and I said all I heard were zombie kids.
So he came
so,
to me.
no, here's what I did. I went and researched over one weekend. I researched like precious moments, like those drawings on Google Images. I looked at like kids cartoons, and I'm like, okay, I want them to be really cherubic. I want to just be cute kids that are rotting. These children will be rotting. Their eyes will be sunken in. Brains might be showing. And I'm like, won't that be original? Because Joel and I both love horror. And I said, Joel's
like,
going to freaking love this. Because
nothing like what
I sent him two that I felt were pretty good. And I said, okay, Joel, you ready? And I did this. And his face kind of went, I was like, what do you mean?
He said it's like these pictures. And they're like horrific pictures of these zombie children. And I'm like...
you said a zombie kids book.
Not what I wanted.
And you're like, a zombie space children's book.
Yes, let's separate the zombie from the children's book. Instead,
there's no dash there.
No. And I re-emphasized. I was like, okay.
Yeah, and then you said again, think of the Simpsons zombies. And that's kind of where I didn't read that part of the email.
Because if you remember like Treehouse of Horror stuff, like the zombies, they're not gory, but they're kind of like decayed.
Yeah, their skull might be showing or something like that.
Yeah, but there's no blood
sticking up.
There's no blood or gore. It's just kind of, cartoony, but still weird.
Yes.
And that's what I was going for. So then Kent was like, oh, okay, I'll go back to the drawing board. So then he worked on it a little bit more. And then we had this whole, I don't know if you remember this, Kent, but we had this whole discussion back and forth where you kept being like, I want to do it this way. I want to make the zombies.
Yeah, I don't remember what I said though.
Basically, you wanted to put expressions on their faces. Like you wanted them to be
But that's
happy.
missing the joke.
Well, that's what I was like, no,
right.
Kent. I said, Kent, that's, I wanted them to be like serious.
Were they like hungry or like something like that?
Like well, they were showing like the emotion that you were doing it. Like you actually, I told you to draw a hungry zombie. You had like, hands on your chest or something. I can't remember. Like,
okay.
Like you were trying to get it to do emotions. I'm like, no, the whole gimmick.
Humor's new for me. So that was...
Well, and I remember we were going back and forth, and it was
Ken still doesn't understand what you're trying to get him to do.
It was getting a little intense. But then I remember you came back to me and you said, my wife told me to just go with your idea.
And man, I haven't had wisdom for years.
But you said that. I remember you were like, my wife told me, just do what Joel says. This is his idea. And so I'm just going to do what you want. And I was like, well, thank you, Kent's wife.
And truthfully, I don't.
And that's what ended your relationship, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was.
About
like,
Goodnight, Sleepy Zombie.
Oh yeah, I'll do the book and that's it.
And then I'm out of here.
No, it's funny though. I don't know why I didn't get that, because after drawing these pictures, and for example, there's a zombie on a roller coaster. I don't know if you're going to kind of go through each page.
About it.
An excited zombie on a roller coaster, and the roller coaster looks like it's rip roaring, and his face is just...
Yeah, he's in the harness, just sitting there.
And honestly,
he's been stuck on that for
drawing
eternity.
That was fun, just because I'm like, yeah, there's literally no emotion, and so maybe it took me a little bit to go, oh, the irony is that's the humor.
And I'm hoping, and the thing is, I was hoping that kids would get that humor element, and I've been very happy because I had my wife's cousin. Talked about how one of her kids thinks the zombie on the roller coaster is the funniest thing.
Okay, yeah.
Because he's not having fun.
Right.
And that's what's funny. And I'm like, yes, he gets it.
Yeah.
So he's a very advanced 24-year-old.
I'm looking at it right now.
So anyway.
I don't like that his arms are like holding the thing, though. I kind of wish they were out.
They're kind of stuck there because he died like that with them frozen like rigor mortis.
Oh, okay. That makes sense, actually. I feel better about it now.
I just want to point this out because why Kent's a good guy. Because as you remember, I asked Jason about it and then no reply. Mm-hmm. I asked Kent about it. Within a month, I have images. So he worked on it, and then within a month, I had images. And what I did with those images was I
threw them away.
Yeah.
Back to the drawing board. Jason, where are you?
So then I had my, I think she was 7 at the time, I believe. I should know that off the top of my head. But I had my daughter, Kent put the pictures together. Mm-hmm. I had my daughter color them, and then I scanned them in. And then I printed out the book at Kinko's, just one print, and it was a headache trying to get the right file size.
I've done that before. It's the worst.
And trying to get a book published.
And honestly, to get pages to match up, side to side, because there's some one shots across 2 pages.
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so it was terrible, and I was having the hardest time doing it. I was getting so frustrated, but I wanted to get it done because around Christmas time, Brandon Mole throws this Christmas party and invites some of us to come up there with some of his old friends. We get together.
It's like a talent night, right?
Well, so it was a dinner, and then they started adding the talent portion where people come up and do random stuff. And this is a party where there's a lot of authors there. Like, I mean, obviously Brandon, Chad and Shelley Morris are both published authors. Shannon Hale, Tyler Whitesides, Frank Cole, like a bunch of these people who are local authors who come up and enjoy this thing. So everyone around me is basically a writer, and I'm there like, I'm here to do comedy.
Like, that's bad.
Well, I mean, we that's how Brandon know each other from comedy, and I love the people I hang out with. It's a very, very fun group. But I'm always like, man, I want to do something. And so my talent that year was to do this joke where I'd be like, okay, I know all you guys publish books. Hey, how long was your first book? Oh, it was this many pages. How long was your book? Oh, it was this many pages. And I'd be like, oh, well, I wrote one.
Jason won't call me back.
Jason won't call me back. But I said, oh, this one's like 20-something pages.
Yeah.
And then I read it for the group. And I did it as kind of a joke, like, haha, you know, it took me years to write a children's book, whereas you guys are writing novels. But I feel like a lot of them were looking on me with a little bit of pity. Like a little bit of like...
Wait, for real? They didn't get it?
I think some people were like...
Joey.
Well, it was worth like, oh, good for you. You wrote something.
No, come on.
Not even patronizing, but just they generally thought that this was me trying to break into the writing industry, where I'm just like, look, guys, I just wrote a funny book for my kids.
Yeah.
But it went over well. People enjoyed it and all that.
Okay.
But there was a couple people where I was like, oh, man, that was kind of awkward. But... then, so yeah, I read it there. It went over well. And then afterwards, I did ask Brandon about, you know, how to get a book published. And he gave me some really good advice. And I was looking at a bunch of different options. And then I let it sit for 4 years.
So it goes. Life happens, right?
It did. Life got away from me. I had like a dozen more kids.
Yeah, you did. In fact, it was in between this time. There were only a few copies of the book. Like, you probably had a couple.
I had a copy and you had a copy.
You gave a copy to me. And so it was honestly an... intro to horror for my oldest.
Oh, she did read it.
Yeah, who I read it to her all the time. Because she's, you know, quite proud, right? If there's anything that I contribute to or whatever. And so she's like, can you read that zombie book again? I'm like, yeah, of course.
Aww.
Yeah.
Well, and so we had our copy of it. And like I said, it was just a Kinko's copy that I printed out. And the thing got used a lot, which was good, but it got demolished. Like, within a year or two, the thing was just falling apart. And I was like, oh, it was so expensive to print off. Like, I remember it was really expensive to print off one stupid picture book.
Yeah.
I mean, how many pages is that, Jacob? Like 20?
Yeah.
So then years later, I kept being like, I got to try to publish it. But I was, you know, reaching out to publishers. I didn't know what to do.
Apparently there's this guy that we know that has self-published a book.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Standalone, is that the one?
Not a kid's book.
It was not.
Well, YA.
Yeah.
I'll make it sound kind of scary.
Well, no, actually, Jacob, that is true, because you talked about how you had self-published a book on Amazon.
Oh, did that influence this?
It did, because I was like, oh, that's an option. Because keep in mind, this is around 2014 when I'm talking to Ken.
Yeah.
Which is around the time we were actually starting doing a podcast too. We didn't do
Terrible idea.
Yeah.
glad we went a different direction, huh?
But then I was like, okay, well, Jacob did this on Amazon. I wonder if, let's see how it works. So I actually got onto, I believe it was called Kindle Publishing or something like that initially.
Or
Kindle,
Create Space?
Yeah, well, no, it was Kindle Self-Publishing, I think, initially, and then it became KDP.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, Kindle Direct Publishing.
Kindle Direct, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. So then it was this thing where I kind of started putting the images in there. Mm-hmm. And this is where I swear this isn't a sponsor thing or anything like that, but I was surprised by how easy it was to create my book using this Kindle Direct Publishing.
Yeah, it is easy.
Like, I was putting the pictures in, and granted, it took some fine tuning because
sizing is an issue always.
And I was trying to put the images in at first, and then I ended up putting in Microsoft Publisher and using that.
Okay,
and that was a lot easier to kind of format it because they needed that certain format. Mm-hmm. And I put it in there, and there were some glitches, like I couldn't get the cover to work right, and then the spacing was wrong on the words. Some of the images were off the first couple times I tried it.
And they have a couple border pages in the front and the back of the book as well.
It was like, getting the right number of pages to go along with it.
Right.
This is the older version. I brought one of the versions here tonight, and it's one of the older versions because we actually added in a collage at the end of it to kind of fill out some pages of all of Kent's drawings. Which I should mention that, by the way. Kent, when you brought me the final drawings in, it was almost exactly how I envisioned it. And so I really appreciated your drawing on that. I thought you did a great job.
No worries.
And so then with Kent's illustrations, and
Did you get Jason to help you?
I was going to say, it's funny because I say I wrote a book. There are probably about, I don't know, 24 words in the entire book. Like,
Yeah.
it is a very simplistic for kind of babies and early age toddlers kind of book.
And Joel, when you published this online, I was one of the first people that bought it, I believe.
Hey.
I did buy one, and I sent it to you because I didn't want to keep it. No, I showed you a picture. But one of the things you said is, I said, well, I don't know about the cover because I feel like most of the kids' book have like the hardbound thing going on. And you made a really good point, which is like this one's just... It's foldable. Kids can grab it. They can beat it up. It's kind of durable that way, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
And it is. It's like
you can slap your kids with it if you need.
And I do.
Yeah, exactly.
So Joel, I do have a question. Maybe this is for after maybe you get into the book, but maybe save.
Am I going to do an author's reading today?
Well, maybe it's up to you.
With no images.
Are you wanting to do a follow up?
Well, and we've talked about...
Because I'll tell you what. Can I add my 2 bits?
Sure.
I feel like
there should be a follow-up.
I wasn't drawing... This is me beating myself up a little bit.
Can it be the kid zombies next time, Joel?
No.
We should release some of those on Patreon.
I feel like I wasn't drawing a lot back then, and I kind of just got back into it. But now that with my iPad, I'm really getting into drawing and sketching.
Well,
I would be more than happy to contribute to either a redo of some of these pictures, which I'm not as proud of, or a follow-up.
Well, it's funny, too, because, it does... Like, someone actually mentioned that it looks like a coloring book, and I'm like...
Yes.
Like an updated version? Does 2.0 on this?
2.0 or an actual sequel.
Sleepy Zombie 2.0. Good morning, Sleepy Zombie.
Exactly. I'm not kidding around. I would totally do it.
Well, it'd be fun to do. We just got to come up with ideas for what to do with it. Because
a sexy zombie in a bikini.
Children, Jacob. For children.
Jacob, everybody.
Oh man! So when we were doing,
you're not wrong.
When we were doing the '90s
how do
bracket,
kids work?
Do you guys remember we were doing the '90s one-hit wonder bracket on Bacon Cell?
No.
And we did our tournament,
Uh-huh.
and one of them was "I'm Too Sexy" by Right Said Fred.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I was listening to a lot of these songs at home on heavy rotation.
Hey, children are listening.
And hearing my little kid. Hearing my little baby say, "I'm too sexy for my show, too sexy for my show." I'm like,
yeah.
oh,
That's
no.
adorable, though.
It was adorable. At the same time, I'm like, ah. Anyway, but yeah, it really is like a very simplistic, and the back, as it says...
Oh, no, can I say this? Because this is my favorite part of the whole
sure, go
book.
ahead.
On the back, Joel has a picture, and there's a quote, and it says, "My dad read this book to me every night, and I turned out just fine." And I thought, I read that, I was like, that was weird. Then I look over at the picture, and it's his son as a zombie, and he looks really disturbed.
It was his
and I'm
zombie
like,
costume.
oh, that's awesome. Like, that is
He
so
was
funny.
so embarrassed when I put that on there too, but he liked it. But like the back just says, teach your children about the wide range of emotions the undead can have as you read this ghoulishly adorable book to them right before bedtime. Sweet dreams. Because this really is like one of those bedtime stories that you read to your little kids. Like I said, this isn't literature. This is just a picture book for kids. Kent did all the heavy lifting. I just kind of typed up words.
I would say your daughter did the heavy lifting because I didn't have to color
She did.
whatsoever.
She colored. My little daughter colored.
And it's
all
cool
the
because
pages.
it looks like, well, it's
Ken,
crayon.
I want to see an updated version.
I would
by
love
you.
to.
Yeah, because I feel like this is a
Basic
fantastic
version, right?
Yeah, it's a fantastic basic mock version. I'd love to see the updated.
That's what I was going to say. Is that one of the people that bought it actually? I think in the review on Amazon. Which if you get this book. Please leave a review because that just the reviews help boost it up and get it more visibility, and then it goes up in the rankings of books. I should check that, see what it's at right now.
Go ahead.
But she recommended that we turn it into a coloring book. Like we give a black and white
I
version
agree.
available,
Yep,
where people
makes
can
sense.
color it themselves. And I'm like, that's a good idea. So I still need to do that, but I got to wait a couple years, right?
The
And
reason
that's
I
the
enjoyed
pattern.
this book and books like it, even of this size, soft cover and everything, is like, this is the book I'll choose when my youngest is like, read me a story. And I'm like, I need the shortest book possible to still be a good dad.
That's right, kids. It doesn't take too long.
Yeah, and so it's like 22 pages, a couple of words on every page, and that's it.
5 reviews.
5 reviews, yes. So yeah, 25 pages. And I should mention that too. So after 2009,
Yeah.
and then after 2014,
Right.
I finally got around to publishing it earlier this year, February 10th, 2019.
Wow.
And we're just talking about it on Bacon Cell right now.
I honestly, 10 years or not, I think it's something to be proud of. Like, I think the three of us here, we all have projects that we like to tinker in our minds a little bit, characters we'd like to write out.
Yeah.
And even to finish something like this is truly great.
Well, and really the thing is, I made it mostly for my kids
Yeah.
because like to raise my kids in a twisted way or something.
You
like that. I don't
do.
know.
I mean, you have the horror movie
But I mean, like I
training,
said,
Joel.
what does a zombie say? And then I have Goodnight Sleepy Zombie.
Yeah.
But just today, barely today, I got a video from one of my wife's relatives where their kids were reading it, and then she's like, "Is this your favorite book?" And he's like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Aw,
That's way cool.
that just makes me happy that other kids are finding enjoyment about it."
Yeah.
By the way, I wanted to bring this up: the Amazon bestsellers rank. Do you guys want to guess where this one ranks?
And which subgenre is this in?
Right now, this is just the general genre.
Oh gosh.
1,926,206.
It's pretty good, right?
I am number 5,325 in children's sleep issues.
Things that give children
what?
sleep issues?
Apparently, there's books out there specifically for that, and so
For giving children
Okay.
sleep issues.
no,
Okay.
for children with sleep issues. Apparently, this is
Joel?
helpful.
It's been 5 years. I want you to hear me out. Zombie children. Decaying children. Honestly, I feel like that would be a big seller. It wouldn't be appropriate for any kids, but I feel like adults would buy it.
I want to bring this up too because you just remind me of spinoffs. So I checked it out today, and I was just looking at the page, kind of seeing what it is. It's $8, by the way. I should mention it's $8 on Amazon. It's Prime. You can get it in time for Halloween and read it to your kids, or have it as a Halloween book that you bring out every year. So yes, this is a bit of a plug for our book. Kent.
Yeah.
There. I said it. But one of my favorite things is I went on there and it's like for paperback $8 on Prime. Oh, that's great. And then it has one used for sale,
One
What?
used?
$19.81.
Oh, that's mine. Sorry.
Actually-
I'm trying to make a profit.
Actually, that's kind of legit. That's a collector's item.
Well, I was like, what the heck? Who is trying to sell my? It's used
For
like new
double.
for over double the price of the
That's
book.
weird.
And so I looked, and it's like apparently direct shipment from Japan from Blue Neko US. And so apparently they just wanted to take people's
What you
work.
don't realize, like, if we're talking books of that size, there's like Action Comics in 1938, the first ever Superman issue, which
It's
is
like the first ever.
and then there's Goodnight Sleepy Zombie selling used Joel for $19.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's amazing.
I love that.
But
I'm
it
gonna buy that
does-
one.
Like some of the people that left reviews on here, I just want to read a couple of these short ones.
Gave my children sleep issues.
This one makes me laugh because it says the title says important book for child development. They forgot the L.
Oh.
Development.
Development.
Anyway, but so this is a review from Autumn. It says, I bought this to read to my 2-year-old goddaughter and she loves it. I had to read it to her 5 times in a row when I gave it to her. Adorable book. Oh.
Yeah.
This is from Saran Wrap. It's Saran Wrap is the name of the reviewer here. My kids thought this was hilarious. The first few pages, they were like, they all have the same expression on their face. Then they got why it was funny, and they giggled the rest of the book. Excited Zombie was a favorite.
Yes.
And then one more I was just going to read. I work at a child care, and my 4 to 5-year-olds loved it. Afterwards, they wanted me to draw them zombies. You should think about making this into a coloring book, too. So
Okay.
there's a couple of things we already talked about, but
I think my personal favorite was the silly zombie with the zombie hand sticking out of the grave.
Yes.
Holding a balloon animal.
yes.
Yes.
And now, gentlemen, I would like to do a
You're gonna do it?
an author's
Yeah.
reading of Goodnight Sleepy Zombie.
Hold on. Lights down.
Put the music in it. No, and I
At
want
hyperspeed.
I'm going to read this to you like I read it to my children, and like I recommend a lot of people read it to their children.
This isn't going to be weird?
It's going to be a little weird.
Okay. Are we going to fall asleep by the end?
What?
I'm going to and Kent, Jacob, if you could describe the pictures, I think your descriptions are going to be best.
Oh,
on
I
this.
love it.
All right. Goodnight Sleepy Zombie by Joel Hilton. Illustrations by Kent Dunn.
Should I describe the front?
Describe the cover, yes.
So the cover has a big banner that says "Not for resale."
This is the proof I got. This is an early proof.
Oh no!
What
So
was
we
the
got
picture?
a teddy bear, and he's a little beat up. Life's been rough, and he's laying against a pillow.
Mm-hmm. With a blankie.
He's watching something. I don't know, but
Okay.
he's probably got ill intent.
And then here's the inscription.
Oh, this is
Yeah,
you part.
yeah.
Sorry, it's not a picture.
For the instructions, it just says, for brains.
Nice.
Which my kids like that.
Yeah, we got.
Wait, I gotta read it first.
Oh,
You describe
okay,
it.
okay.
Okay, here we go. And I'm gonna do it like I do to my kids.
This
Okay.
is going to be good.
Happy zombie. Let me see your happy face. All right, Jacob.
So there's a zombie. He's missing his left arm, and there's a sort of smiley face pin. Also, he's got a party hat that looks like the one Kent always wears.
True story.
Sad zombie.
Oh no, zombie has dropped the ice cream cone.
Hungry zombie.
So there's a guy who likes to play baseball, and he doesn't see this zombie coming.
You don't know he likes to play baseball yet?
He looks like a baseball player.
Because then the next page flips open. Scared zombie.
Oh my gosh, he does love baseball. He's holding a baseball bat, and now that zombie's in trouble.
Zombie's running away. Angry zombie.
What's going on there? Zombie's reaching up in a tree?
She can't get him.
Oh, she's so mad.
She's ticked off because she can't get her food. Surprise zombie.
Oh, no. So now a zombie has walked into a room full of people with weapons.
It looks like a surprise party.
It's a surprise
But
party.
there's pitchforks.
He did. Oh, he actually is.
He is dead again.
Content zombie.
This zombie has found the other zombie's arm that was missing and is eating it happily.
Zombies don't eat zombie arms. That's flesh colored. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's another arm. Maybe it's before he turned.
Also, it's not too gory. I should point that out.
Yeah.
And then you got jealous zombie.
Yeah, she sees the zombie eating the arm.
She wants that arm.
Yeah.
Shy zombie.
Zombie behind a bush. That's what I like to call this one.
Yep. Bored zombie.
Zombie playing chess with himself.
You think he's really playing, though?
I don't know. I don't know what he's doing.
Excited zombie.
Zombie on the famous roller coaster.
Yep.
He's just looking ahead with his arms in rigor mortis. Just going down that roller coaster forever.
Silly zombie.
Can't really see the zombie in this one. We just have a balloon animal being gripped by a dead man's hand coming out of the ground.
A zombie hand.
A zombie hand.
What do you think a zombie
I'm just
is?
describing it.
Someone that comes back from the dead.
And I think there's a tombstone in the background of that one.
Sleepy zombie.
Zombie sleeping on the sidewalk. Although I don't think they do that.
No, he actually just fell down.
Oh.
Good night, sleepy zombie.
Ah.
What's happening at the end?
Zombie is cuddling a teddy bear.
The teddy bear from the beginning?
Yep, I think so.
In the bed.
Yep.
Full circle.
The end.
Yeah.
It's very cute.
There you go.
Kent, I do want your reimagining of
I'd be happy to.
the digital one. I don't know if you can talk Joel into it.
I
but-
think the
I'm
sequel.
fine with it.
yeah.
But the thing is,
I want to see the iPad
I always
coloring
feel bad.
version.
See, I was not blessed with the ability to draw. Like, I have pictures in my head, but they don't go to my hand.
Yeah.
So when I gave those rough drawings to Ken, it was like literally stick figures. Like,
Oh, they help perfectly.
that's an
I
ice
kinda
cream
remember
That's all I
cone,
needed. Yeah.
and that's a roller coaster. So I'm not a good drawer, and so I always feel bad when I'm like, I have this idea. Someone who can draw, make it for me.
Yeah.
And so I do that quite often, actually. In fact, that's how most of our episode images a lot of time works out. I'm like,
Put this together with this.
Ken's like, do you guys have any idea for episode images? And I'm like, I have an idea. And I come up with this crazy idea, and then he makes it happen. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, you just find stuff online, and then you're like, how about something like that?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is awesome. If you haven't checked it out, I know that if you're friends with Joel on Facebook,
Yes.
you probably saw it earlier this year.
Yeah.
But we'll be posting a link to it as well.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really simple. Go into
Yeah.
Amazon and do a search for Goodnight Sleepy Zombie.
Good night, sleepy zombie. That's all it is. And like I said, $8, fun Halloween book or fun anytime book. My kids read it all year round. They actually do really enjoy it. I did just read it to them, and they get a kick out of doing all the emotions together.
Awesome.
Because you make them do it. But yeah, so thank you for listening to my shameless plug
Yeah.
of our book.
It's an insight
It's a
into the
group
history.
effort.
If
Yes.
you're out there, Jason, you're dead to us.
Let's end it there.
Peekaboo.
You weren't supposed to look.
I was peeking.
Now you won't peek.
No more peeking.